Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is my reading update from my July 2023 vacation on the lake. I am specifically on Lake Half Moon. I don't have a lot of ideal filming set up here, either physically or even just with the time. I'm kind of squeezing in time around family stuff. I have a lot of family. I've been spending a lot of time with them. It's been great, although I really should have filmed more, including time we've spent on the boat. My family friends have this new pontoon boat, and we've gone out a couple times, and the last time I've realized I should be filming some B-roll, but nope, I'm just sitting here on the dock. And this is our last full day. We're into the evening now, and I have not gotten as much reading done as I'd hoped to, even though I did have enough time to do some reading, and I did a lot of writing and catch up on writing type of stuff. But you know, there's also just interacting with family and friends, and going on a few field trips to a couple places, and tonight we have a anniversary to celebrate, so lots going on. And I just wanted to, before the light goes down and I run out of time anyway, quickly talk about what I've kind of gotten through reading. And one thing I'm reading, I think I'll do an overlay picture rather than dash upstairs to, you know, into the cabin to get my iPad with my audiobook. But I am reading an audiobook on the Sassoon family by Joseph Sassoon. He's a distant cousin. Yeah, it's a nonfiction book that I decided to read, about biography that came up in last year's Jewish Book Council Awards. I have a video where I talked about this book. I'll link down below. And I'm in early stages, really. I've only listened to a couple of chapters, and so far we've kind of followed the family in the mid-19th century from Iraq, where things were getting a little harder for the Jews, and they ended up in India and are kind of cozying up to the British Empire. And I think their general story is they did pretty well in trade until they got kind of swept up into wanting to prove themselves to be British aristocracy for aristocracy's sake. But I'm not quite to that part where their, you know, fortunes start to go down. But tomorrow I'm going to have this long 9-hour drive back from New Hampshire right now and going back to Maryland. And I think I might try to, you know, I'm not driving. I might try to eke out a lot of that there. We shall see. Meanwhile, I was definitely hoping I'd be completely finished with this book earlier, but I still have 100 pages left in Horse by Geraldine Brooks. And so, yeah, this has been a really good book. Well, I mean, I think it's been a little uneven, frankly, because we're in 3 different timelines, particularly 2 of them. In 2019, we're following a bone conservator and an art historian who kind of randomly come across this piece of information at the same time. There's a piece of artwork, and then there's a skeleton of a real live antebellum racing horse named Lexington. And Geraldine Brooks actually found out about this and fictionalized the story. She seems to do that a fair bit, I think, with her novels. And so we're following these 2 characters, and one is a white Australian woman and one is a black man from Lagos, and so they're interested in this history, and they're also in a bit of a relationship, and it's an interesting commentary on racial realities and microaggressions and that sort of thing. And then the horse kind of comes into the background. After a while, the horse is kind of the background of that. And then in the antebellum South, mostly in the 1850s in Lexington and Louisiana, we're following this horse who changes owners, but also is being cared for by an enslaved groom, a young boy to young man named Jarrett. So we get to see the horse's life through his eyes, and that of course also gives us a look into his reality of being, in fact, you know, property himself. This is definitely the strongest story, although we keep on getting perspectives from other people as well. And I guess it's interesting, although I really feel like, you know, Jared is obviously the main character, and in a way I kind of wish we could just stay in his head rather than get caught up in some of these other people. Like there's, you know, the painter who painted the picture of Lexington, and we also have his white neighbor who gets a say sometimes, but still definitely the strongest story. And then finally we get a couple of chapters, which are the weakest part for me, in the 50s, where I think a art dealer in New York is unearthing this portrait like 100 years later, and I really feel like this is like the middleman story we didn't need to have. We could just, you know, cover what we need to in 2019 and in 1850. And frankly, I think if it were just 1850, maybe it would have been the strongest story overall and like had a stronger through line through it. So that's generally my thoughts. I'm really enjoying it, although it's very big and hefty and a lot going on, so it can be difficult to keep everything straight. Although really, I mean, it's easiest with, you know, Jarrett's story, because he is the main character and has the most compelling stuff going on. And also Lexington, the horse as well, is probably a stronger character than any of the other human characters other than Jarrett, just to say. I also have read one story in this collection, SARAHLAND by Sam Cohen. I read it in my last video that I filmed quickly before leaving DC. So I haven't read any more in this. I was, I think, a little too hopeful that I'd be able to get through all my books and actually start this one on vacation when I definitely won't be. But I don't know, I think it was an okay story. I think it had a lot of big philosophical ideas about millennial collegiate society going on in it and what it's like for women in particular. And I'm hoping for more variety in the other stories, but I will report back. And of course, I should say that all of the main characters in these stories are all named Sarah, and I think they are a lot of characters in a lot of different historical and contemporary and surreal and realist situations, is my understanding. And queer. Okay, and the final book, which I maybe will be able to start before the end of this vacation, maybe, is The Last Cruise by Kate Christiensen, which I picked for my page 112 tag and thought it would be fun to read on a lakeside vacation where I also, you know, have some boat reality going on in my life. And I believe this book is about a few characters who go on a cruise of an ocean liner in the ocean. So I haven't started it yet. I thought maybe for fun I could try reading a little bit of it now, like the first page or something. So we'll see if I can actually make this work in an artistic sort of way. We shall see. All right, Chapter 1. As Christine walked out of the air-conditioned terminal into the balmy, sweet air of Southern California, she inhaled sharply and started to laugh. She might as well have traveled to another planet. It was summer here. The air vibrated with sunlight. Bits of mica glinted in the pavement, making it sparkle. She walked through clumps of people with deep tans wearing shorts and sandals. When she looked down to steer her luggage cart over the curb, she caught a glimpse of the winter pallor of her own skin, dead white. The cabbie helped her stow her luggage in his trunk. "You brought everything, I guess." "I'm going on a cruise," she told him, trying to temper her giddy elation with apology. In the cab on the way to the hotel, she leaned her head against the back of the seat and watched the palm trees roll on by. She wanted to drift on the fumes of the wine she'd drunk on the plane, lose herself in thought, but the cabbie was energetically chatty with a musical but guttural accent she couldn't place. He had shining black hair and chalky skin, and he was skeletally skinny. She decided he was a vampire, which added a dreamlike sinister undertone to his chattiness. He was also apparently a self-appointed ambassador to Long Beach. "We are the 7th largest city in California," he was saying. "We are the 2nd busiest seaport in the United States, as well as the aquatic capital of America. There are many boats to charter for excellent dolphin and whale watching. And the beaches. 5.5 miles. Have you heard of Misty May Trainer?" Oh boy, I think I'll be done there because I'm pretty sure my camera did a bunch of random traveling as I was attempting to read over it. But yeah, so there we go. It's not very cruisy yet, but this character is obviously on her way there. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But in the meantime, I guess that's about it for me now. I'm sure I have to skedaddle pretty soon. And thank you all for your endurance with this even more amateur hour videoing than usual, but I certainly hope you enjoyed the sights. And I'll leave more information to this lake, Lake Half Moon in New Hampshire, down below in case you ever find yourself in the area or just want to try out a lake. And I hope you are all enjoying whatever summer holidays have come your way, or seasonal holidays that have come your way. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time.